So Draymond Green is going to be on Inside the NBA for the Western Conference Finals, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Not because I like listening to Draymond Green. I can't stand listening to Draymond Green. And this is from someone who loves loves everything Draymond Green does on the basketball court. I think if you don't see the importance of Draymond Green to all those Warriors teams, you don't know basketball. But everything off the floor, I'm just not a fan of. From assaulting his teammates to using his podcast in the worst way possible. Like, he wants to call himself the new media, and he's actually just a worse version of what he calls the old media and he dislikes. The only reason he dislikes the old media necessarily seems to be because they go at him a little bit. So he wants to control the narrative. And in fairness, like, I can't say that that's an uncommon thing. Let's be real. MJ wanted to control the narrative about himself. LeBron wants to control the narrative about themselves. Everyone in anything, if they're in the public eye and people are talking about them, want to control the narrative about themselves. So he's obviously going to do that. But doing that while claiming to be the opposite is just Draymond Green. But some of the dumb things he has said in the last week, I've made 2 videos about how dumb some Draymond Green takes are. And I'm going to make another one right here because there's been some incredibly dumb takes. First of all, the Eastern Conference Finals. And I know the Pacers lost game 1. But he literally just said the Pacers are a regular season team. They nearly won game 1 without, like, they blew it. 2 bad refereeing calls went against them. If it wasn't for that, they would have won the game in regulation. And 3, what they showed an ability to not give up. Like, a regular season team, people are like, oh, they're just going to be good in the regular season. They don't make 2-0 comebacks in series. And I get it, the Knicks got hurt, but it doesn't matter. The way they came back well. They came back multiple times in that game. A regular season team doesn't have that type of fight. And I don't understand what the logic is for them being a regular season team. And it's like, cool, Aaron Nesmith has a bit of playoff experience and he was with the Boston Celtics. If you look at, obviously, some young guys, like Andrew Nembhard is a young guy. TJ McConnell has a bunch of playoff experience. Tyrese Halliburton, yes, he doesn't have playoff experience, but his game is one that does tend to translate. Other than the 2 turnovers, normally that type of game does translate well to the playoffs. Miles Turner has been there and done that. Like, Miles Turner's been in the playoffs with Paul George. He's been in the playoffs with Victor Oladipo, and now he's in the playoffs again. Pascal Siakam's a champion. I don't get where these are a regular season team comes from. Why? Because it's their first year of being really good. Well, I mean, it's the first real year of them being together. It's the first year of them getting of, I know he didn't play, but like a bit of more of a coming of age of Ben Mathurin, of Andrew Nembhard. It's the first year Aaron Nesmith stepped up. It's the first year they've been healthy the whole year, other than Tyrese Halliburton. TJ McConnell is going to be a really good, effective bench player. Miles Turner, we've all known that Miles Turner is a player that is a guy that a lot of the top teams want. And then Siakam is a proven winner and a champion. He was the best player. He was not only like the second best player on that championship team, he was a best player on a team that got to Game 7 of a conference semifinals the year after that. And yeah, I know the Raptors kind of had just a couple of iffy years between 2020 and 2023, so it ended up trading him. But it doesn't change the fact that he's got playoff experience. And this isn't the Thunder. They're not like the Thunder or even like the Jazz, where none of them really had playoff experience back in 2021, being like, okay, yeah, they're a regular season team. The Pacers weren't even a good regular season team. They were almost in the play-in. But they did really well in the in-season tournaments. They were winning all the, like, I know the in-season tournament didn't matter that much, but it does show that like they can win games that matter. Because in-season tournament games did matter slightly more than regular season games. I don't think anyone will argue that, especially at the time. So they were winning games that mattered. So I don't get where they are a regular season team argument came from. It doesn't make any sense. I know it would make this would be a much better argument if they didn't choke the game away. But that's just a couple of plays. That's nothing to do with their team. They just choked. And Jaylen Brown hit a circus shot. But then, also, stuff about the Minnesota Timberwolves. After Game 6, he's like, they don't believe in themselves anymore. There's things that, or Game 5, sorry. He's like, oh, there's things you can see. There's things you can see they don't believe in themselves. And I'm like, okay. I thought they were done. But saying something like that means, and especially the way Draymond said it, he said it in a way it's like, oh, I can pick up on these things. At the end of the day, you can pick up on certain things better if you're an NBA player. Just like certain people pick up on certain things, but you're never going to know how certain players are going to react. Because, yeah, I know they got blown out in Game 5. They then proceeded to win by 45 in Game 6 and win in Game 7 after the greatest comeback in Game 7 ever. So, you can make assumptions based on what players look like. But in reality, what I'm guessing is Draymond made assumptions based on the teams he'd came up against and himself and his own teams. But at the end of the day, this Timberwolves team clearly is built as something different. Ant-Man is built differently. Like, I'm shocked at how well they came back, but like, Anthony Edwards is just, I'm built differently is the way to describe him. Just mentality-wise, it's different. Like, he was terrible offensively in Game 7, but had his best defense, one of his best defensive games in a long time. And then also, the stuff that he wants to say, has said about Rudy Gobert. I get it. Rudy Gobert is not likable. He's not. But Draymond Green has done everything he can to belittle everything about Rudy Gobert. Like, he even went as far as to insult the fact that Rudy Gobert was speaking French because he's French. He went into, he sunk low enough to go to xenophobia. Like, you know that's bad. I get it, not liking someone, but when you sink to xenophobia, you know you've already lost the argument. And the fact that he's back on Inside the NBA, you know what? Like, again, I never believe conspiracy theories, but like there are a lot of conspiracy theories that I'm like, not that there is some truth to them, but it's fun to talk about potentially. I've heard the conspiracy theory of Inside the NBA are bringing on Draymond Green because people hate him so much and people hate him being on a show so much that they're going to be happy when they're going to be less annoyed when it's cancelled because Draymond Green's been on it. But like, he is insufferable. He's absolutely insufferable. He is basically turning into Stephen A. Smith. Except the difference is that because of what Draymond Green has done on the floor, because of everything Draymond Green has done, and he's had a Hall of Fame career. Would he have been a Hall of Famer without the Warriors? No, probably not, but that doesn't matter. He's had a Hall of Fame career. He was one of the most important players who were the greatest team of all time. He is a Hall of Famer, one of the best glue guys to ever play the sport of basketball. And because of that, people just automatically believe the nonsense that he says. The absolute nonsense. Like, the guy, I've hated him since he nearly, like, he did something that could have killed his teammate, and then instead of apologizing, do you remember the fake apology video? I've hated Draymond ever since then, and all he has done since then is belittle other players, assault people, and become another member of the hot take media. Except the worst part is he claims to be different. He claims to be different. He claims that he's new media and that the old media is just a bunch of hot take people, when in reality, he is just another hot take person. The only difference is that he's played the sport and he's like, seems to be unaware of what he's doing. Like Kendrick Perkins, the ultimate role player. He was the ultimate role player when he played. He's the ultimate role player for ESPN. He will say literally whatever will get the most clicks. He is the perfect role player. He's the perfect, like, okay, this is what my boss wants me to do. I'll go and do it. And he'll be in media a long time. Just because, again, he's interesting. The problem is that if you're a Draymond Green, you're pretending to be the opposite to what Kendrick Perkins is, when in reality, you're the exact same, except you're just not self-aware of it.